Welcome to Artists in Residences, the Westport Library's virtual artist series. I'm Carol Erger-Fass, exhibit curator at the library. In this episode, Mix Burrows will take us to visit the studio of artist Judith Katz. Judith is a graduate of Syracuse University School of Fine Arts, and she's been a graphic designer, a potter, a painter, a sculptor, an author, and a teacher. Her paintings and sculpture have been shown all around New York and New England. And she's taught at Parsons School of Design, Silvermine, and in Westport. She's the author and illustrator of 3 books, including The Beautiful Pond, where the proceeds from the book were used to help preserve and protect Westport's historic mill pond. Judith says that it's her intention to capture a moment's spontaneity and keep it forever. And although she was probably referring to her landscapes, you can really see that in her latest work, which is more abstract and less connected to place, making it a fitting creative outlet during quarantine. Now let's join Miggs and Judith, where she'll show us around her studio and share with us what she's been up to.
Well, thank you, Carol. I've known Judy Katz for quite a while and seen a lot of her work, and I'm constantly amazed at how diverse her work is and how constantly new and fresh her ideas are. So I would like to say hello to Judith in her studio. There you are. We just switched.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, here I am. Yes.
You prefer Judy and not Judith, right?
I do. Only my mom called me, but you can. So I am so glad to be with you today on this beautiful day, and I'm thrilled to have you in my studio. I actually was out painting this morning, and I'm so glad to have you in my studio because I really never had a painting studio. I used to call, when people asked me where my studio was, I used to say that it was in the trunk of my car because yes, right, because most of my work is plein air. Yeah, and so, but it's interesting because I don't have a lot of plein air in my studio, but I'll show you that in a minute. I've been experimenting with kind of new ways to get marks on paper. I think it was Helen Clisser-During who used that phrase once, talking about, the marks artists make. And I love it. It resonated with me.
Yeah.
Shall I walk around my studio?
Yeah, but I have a question about plein air first, because I've never done it. And I know for anyone who does plein air, that just means outside, painting outside. Yeah. How does it, like, you could be out there for hours, right? So the sun is moving, and let's say you're painting a boat and the shadows are this way, and then 2 hours later the shadows are the other way. So how do you keep up with that?
Oh, I love that question, Miggs. That's super. That would be for an artist who works slowly.
Oh, okay.
With me is that I work really very quickly.
Oh.
I go out and I maybe drive around. When I was doing my book of my paintings, when I did my pond book of The Beautiful Pond, I used to go stand on the bridges at Old Mill Pond, and I would just find a moment. There would be just an instant that I loved. And it doesn't take me very long to paint because my object has always been just to catch an instant, kind of like get the essence of it, get it down on paper. And then the big thing is, because I'm working with water and gouache and ink, the big thing is to not touch it until it's dry.
Yeah. Because
it makes a great deal of difference to have the little marks that happen.
A little spontaneous, yeah.
Not concerned with the light changing. I'm concerned with the instant.
Okay.
And the graphics of it. I guess it's because really, basically, I'm a graphic designer. But I know some artists are very concerned, you know, with the light that's there now.
Right.
So that's the answer, I think.
That's a great answer, because you're right. And it helps define what you're about the moment. And whatever other artists may, you know, spend 6 hours painting a barn or a boat, and
Right.
it's about an accumulation of moments, you know. Anyway, show us. Why don't you give us a little tour? Try to hold the camera steady and give us a little tour. If you want to reverse it or do whatever you want to do to show us what we're
Okay,
doing.
now let's see.
Oh,
It's
perfect.
reversed now.
That was quick.
Yeah. Well, that's because I rehearsed with you. You're the master. You know, I'm kind of euphoric this morning because I have my new earbuds, so I can see you, and I feel very, you know, of the moment.
Yeah.
Very, very excited with my
Okay.
mastery of the mechanics. I'm looking around. I'm actually showing you now a painting, which was a plein air painting. But I'm not going to stop on it for a moment. I just want you to kind of look around, see what's in my studio. Some black and white.
Now, were these studies
images.
things you just kind of like almost sketches or concepts, or?
No,
No,
they're paintings.
They're painting.
They're finished works. As Helen said, they're the marks that I made during that period of time when I was experimenting. So I'm just going to kind of let you see what my studio is like. It's an awfully nice place. I'm very fortunate to have this sunlit corner of the world.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you don't get distracted looking out the window?
Well, again, don't forget, I usually work in here at night.
Oh, okay.
When I'm doing these black and white studies, and when I'm doing my in the world, finding a spot that talks to me. And I love looking out the window. It's beautiful. Well, it did influence me. It did have a great deal to do with some work that I did at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, nice. Try to hold it a little steady. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we see that?
Yep.
I'll come in there. Maybe I'll come in here.
Oh,
maybe
nice. Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, look at that. Oh my God, that's perfect. That's amazing. Now you get to see all the little tendrils that come out of that are soaked into the page.
This is one of the magic things that I have been working with for many years. I am very interested in what happens with ink and water. And actually, when I teach, I've taught some classes at Silvermine and the Westport Art Center and the Rowayton Art Center. This is one of my tools, ink and water.
Right. So why do some edges, if I may ask, why do some edges sort of seep into the paper and give that nice kind of fuzzy edge, and others are more hard edged? They don't soak in. You just
Migs, I have no idea.
Honest answer.
It is the incredible magic, but in truth, I really do. But it's nothing you can control.
You're
That's
right,
it's where it's wetter.
Right.
Where the paper is wetter. The ink is oil based, and so the oil is floating on the water.
Okay.
And that's what makes those wonderful.
Oh, these are some of your
showing you
these
right
are some
now.
Of your vessels.
Yes, they are. They are. Thank you. They are. Yeah, I do. I work at the Clay Art Center. I use it as a studio in Portchester, and thank you. As a matter of fact, here is a vessel that is very black. Well, it is black and white. It's a whole series that I'm doing, and I guess it has to do with those black marks that I'm making. And actually right behind it, I must pull that out, is a picture of Melissa Kane.
Oh,
in the yeah.
she's a familiar face. Yeah.
Yes, she is. My daughter. She's sitting in that photograph. I'm mentioning it to you because that's when we first came to Westport. We came in the summers when my children were babies.
One of your fingers, I think, is in front of the lens of the camera. There you go.
There we go. Good now?
Yep. Good.
Yes. Okay. I'm walking in my studio over to a piece of my sculpture over there. Should I show you some work that I've done during the pandemic?
Yeah, we'd love to see that because that people are fascinated with what artists, if they're creating, and if they are, what direction are you going in? I mean,
Okay, well, I am very excited to show you. I'm picking this up. I'm walking it to my desk.
There's a little cinema verite here.
I love it. At the very beginning of the pandemic, one night at about 3 a.m, when everything was so unreal and frightening, I came into this room and I stood in the corner windows right over here that you said, isn't it distracting? It's so gorgeous. And when you stand in the corner, you can look up and see the sky. And there were the stars. And so I started these little drawings. It said, out of the stars and the pyramids. And that was kind of really exciting to me. And cinema verite of another iteration of that idea. Usually when I'm working, Migs, I'm on the floor because you asked me about how that ink works and the edges. It has to be flat, perfectly flat. So I will flat surface, or I'm on my hands and knees on the floor, and the ink is running into the water that I've first made a wash with. Here's another little.
Another question with these very, kind of, I don't know how to describe them, impressionistic almost, but do you tell the brush, the pen or the brush what to do, or does the brush tell you what to do? I mean, do you follow it or does it follow you?
No, I make it move.
Right.
Well, let me go up to this painting on the wall and answer that question for you.
Because there's so much energy in these as well.
What's happening is that in this one, I wasn't using a brush. I was using a piece of cloth, and I had used a brush and I had applied water, and maybe water that had a little bit of ink in it. So it was a gray wash. And then I went into it with ink, and then all these phenomenal things.
Like
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, I feel like the Incredible Shrinking Man, walking on your work.
Yes. So I guess it begins. I'm making it happen. The brush.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean right. You're responsible for it, but I just want to, sometimes writers say that they create characters, tell them what characters sort of run away with the story, and I just want
yes, go on.
No, that's right. I'm wondering, do you have
No.
You're just following an instinct.
Right. There is never a preconception. I'm so glad you asked me that. No, I am. Well, here, I'm going to go to this image that's next to it. I am using a stick to create this painting. I'm using ink and washes on the end of the long stick, and each mark tells me what then the next mark, and then the energy comes together. Let's come in here a little bit and take a look and see.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. It takes, I could see in an exhibit, you'd really have to spend some time to explore your work.
Well, yes, but also you get the first impression, which makes you have a feeling. So I want to go back and show you what I did at the beginning of the pandemic. After, I'm going to walk around the room.
And can you turn the camera sideways again if you can?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Thank you.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, so I am coming in here to, well, I'm going to turn it this way, if I may, so that you can see this entire image.
Yeah.
It's a collage. And I was thinking about this last night and thinking what I wanted to say to you about it. It was the very beginning, again, just a few days after I did those star and pyramid thoughts in the middle of the night. And the first set of grocery bags came that I couldn't touch, that were in the garden for, overnight. So we shouldn't get the virus from the paper.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the paper was okay, I brought it in and I ripped it up and I made a collage out of it. So the brown paper in here.
Oh, those are shopping bags?
Are my shopping bags, yes. And I'm coming in here because I want to show you.
Yeah. Well,
see the paper?
Curling up, yeah.
Yes. So actually, this says somewhere on it, and I'll take you down there. It says pandemic. And actually, somewhere in there, it says impossible. Because to me, what was happening and what is happening is impossible.
Yeah. And kind of ironically, it's almost looked like we're inside an organism, a microorganism.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that, and I love, the brown paper. And again, what happens. So I just want to move over here to another study that I did on the same day. Let me move this painting out of the way. Here we are. I think you can see the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it says, I'm going to show you what it says right there. It says total absurdity. Right. Because that's kind of what is going on in this world to me. Yeah. And there is a close-up again of some of those, what happens to the ink. There's a brush stroke on the end right in here. Yeah. Kind of love that. And I love what happens when the ink drips.
So you're open to, some artists are very tight and methodical and prescribe, and you're open to this kind of letting the universe play, give you surprises, right?
I go with the flow. Yes, but I particularly the ceramics. I'm just coming over to this piece again for a minute because I'm always searching for form. I can say that verbally because it's not a plain piece of paper. I'm painting on these shapes that I create. And again, I never have an idea before I start. However, I started, can I tell you about how I started doing these black and white images?
Yeah, sure. Please. That's why we're here.
It was good. It was about a year and a half ago in January. And I just began thinking about what Helen During had said about making marks. And I began to do these abstract images. Here's another one I want to show you down here. We looked at this in the beginning. I want to just show you, there's one behind here, which is, this is another one that I did with a stick. Kind of, and no water, just the ink.
You just dip the stick in a little bit of ink and sort of scratch on the surface.
Yes, and I'm standing about 3 feet away from it. It's a long stick.
Oh.
And I loved, just the frenzy of energy. And then I kept going back here on my easel here. Not that I ever work on an easel because everything has to be flat. But here was, I just took that black and white and began adding paint to it. White and some very exciting things, happen in that thickening of the paint.
Yeah, there's a lot of dimension to it.
Yeah, that was kind of exciting. And let's see what happens next.
Turn it sideways again, your camera.
Yes, sir.
It just makes the image bigger.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Is that good?
Good, yep.
Yes. Okay, so here I began working in color with just the abstract design. And this was really a very new thing to me. While I was doing this, I was looking at paintings by Joan Mitchell, whom I loved at this particular period of time, and now too. But I love the brushwork and the white coming through. It's very, very exciting to me.
That's terrific. I just wanted, we have about 8 minutes left, just to give you, in case there's other things you want to show, or you can,
I do.
We can keep looking at this all day long, but if you want to move to your book or do something else.
I do. I want to show you my book. I just showed
Okay.
on the easel. Another one of those, kind of color paintings, abstractions, just come in here a little bit. Kind of exciting. And I think I told you, there's a yellow paint in here. Oh, I was using the paint right out of the tube here. And I saw afterward, squeezing it right out of the tube and, then using the brush over it and scratching into it. And I noticed that the yellow was kind of shining one night. And I looked at the tube and I think it's called Golden Bell. It's gold paint. It's not yellow. So it's almost glows in the dark. I would love to show you my book. Before I did, these black and white studies all my life. I'm just bringing this over here to the light. Here is my book.
You want to show the cover? This is all the, yeah, there we go. The beautiful, so it's all mill ponds, right?
Yes, the beautiful pond. This was published about 4 years ago. And it was a great, great, wonderful thrill. Robin Tauk was the backer of the book, the angel behind it. Let me show you a few pages, some birds on the pond, the painting that we looked at as a page. So here you're looking, and you asked me before, did the light matter? Yeah. You can see that only the instant mattered. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there long enough. But sometimes when I paint, let me go back here. Sometimes when I paint, I will paint it on the spot, but I may come back and do a little work on it later.
Okay.
But usually it's right then, right there. So this was a great thrill to do this. I love the pond, and I was really gratified to be able to put it down so everybody could kind of have it forever. That thrilled me. That's really what I wish for. That I could catch a moment and hold it forever. I want to show you a piece of my sculpture that's here. Can I
Okay,
walk over
sure,
there?
please. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just walking around
Yeah.
here because it's very exciting to me. So that while I'm painting, I'm also, working on these sculptures. And again, it's always kind of very exciting to me what happens when the piece comes out of the kiln and you get to see.
Now, is this, I don't know any next to nothing about it. So is this clay or porcelain or what?
It's clay. It's
Okay.
porcelain, and it's kind of exciting because I use unglazed porcelain. I love this matte white background. It's like a canvas almost, and then I sometimes use glazes on it. I'm walking over here because I want to show you a book on the table in my studio. It's my first book, and it's called A Painter's Guide to the Catskills of Rip Van Winkle. And it's a book that I did 20 years ago. And is that too much light?
Yeah, no, that's good.
It's good?
That's good. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to just open it to one page, if I may. Whoops. It was, the same kinds of painting, but this is, of course, on top of the Catskill Mountains, looking out across the Hudson Valley toward Connecticut, toward Stockbridge. But again, it was finding a place that I loved and getting it down really quickly. And then writing the book and doing the history, very exciting. I was very happy to
Can I
have
ask
the
about?
opportunity.
No, they're
Sure.
beautiful. But part of, another big element there that I can't help but notice is your handwriting. It's so
Yes.
artful in itself. So did you study calligraphy, or is that just your artist's hand just coming out?
No, I'm glad you asked me. I never studied calligraphy, but I love Japanese prints.
Okay.
And I am very influenced by the essence of Japanese prints, hokusai. Actually, on my desk right now is a book of hokusai's prints because I love them. I love the design of the pages. I think that, I'm very influenced by that. That's probably my handwriting just is my handwriting.
Flows. Well, I guess your artwork flows and as your handwriting. We've got about 2.5 minutes. So if there's anything that we haven't seen that you want to jump to, or just keep showing more stuff.
Well, I'd
time
love
has
to.
gone by.
Yes, I can't. It goes. Well, that's exactly it. These all minutes go so quickly, particularly in the pandemic. It seems to have a different quality. This is a very simple color study.
So when you say study, will that become a bigger painting or just stay the way it is?
It's not. I said study,
yeah.
But it's a finished painting.
Piece. Okay.
Yes, it is. Oh, I know what I do want to tell you. I'm glad. Is it Carol? Someone said to me about my paintings that she thought that the color abstractions were like the plein air paintings without reality.
Or landscapes without the land, I think, or something.
Yes, without the land. Yes, yes. And that was really so exciting to me. So sort of like going to another dimension, another place. So that's what I'm doing these days. Kind of exploring these pure abstract designs and also painting in the way that I always did. Like this morning I went out and I went and did a seascape at Sasko Beach.
Oh.
There.
Well,
yes.
We're just running. One last thing, though. I think your last exhibit you were in, you won a prize at the Rowayton Art Show. Is that? Do I have that
Oh,
correct?
thank you for mentioning it. Yes, yes. There is the Rowayton Art Center, which is such a sweet place. I do love it. Has reopened and has,
Oh,
for the
great.
first time, a real show, and people can go and be spaced apart. There's plenty of room, and one of my paintings won first prize. It's and it's there now, and it's a combination, really, of my plein air paintings and my abstractions. So if anyone would like,
Yeah,
they
we'll
can
encourage
look.
them,
I had
and we're out of time. So I want to thank Judy Katz so much for letting us explore your studio there, and
Oh, you are greatly welcome. It was
you
my honor to be with you.
and literally take a deep dive into your process and your pigments and your canvas. It was great. I really did feel like a little like creature walking on your canvas. It was great.
Oh,
Um,
God.
or your papers. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Judith, for sharing your studio with us today. You can visit over a dozen different artist studios in Westport without leaving your house by going to the Westport Library's YouTube channel, Westport Pub Lib, and searching for artists in residences. Thanks, and hope to see you back at the library soon.